Hi, welcome. On this video, I'm here once again with Hildegard to demonstrate how to begin to get a dog that come into agreement by way of the muzzle. And again, in this situation here, Hildegard here for a 2-week board and train. I've actually not used the muzzle up to this point in time. However, her owner coming down here today, again, helping to work with Hildegard in terms of reactivity. I had another dog here today. And a couple moments where Hildegard went into a level of challenge. Again, no one got bitten. Everything ended very well. But again, the importance of using a muzzle in terms of certain situations. Again, this issue about Hildegard, since she's been here with me, has not demonstrated those moments of aggression. Knowing though that she's reactive and has demonstrated aggression in the past, but understanding when, again, the owner gets involved, okay, and starts to take control, starts to advocate the way I show, it's a bigger deal, okay? It's just kind of like, re-signing a relationship contract. And so what can happen is the dog is going to get upset, okay, about change itself, based again on control, fulfillment, and understanding that the roles are changing. And kind of how you want to see this in terms of the pushback part of this is no different than, again, I use the parenting example. It's a selfish child that does not like the fact the parent is starting to get in their airspace differently, starting to put questions like, where are you going, who are you hanging out with, okay? And kind of like the moment where the child has a moment of where they're going to kind of kick a hole in the door, okay? Even though everything the parent is doing is reasonable, you're going to get a very unreasonable response for the selfish child that's already hit that level. Now here, in terms of it keeping it safe for for the dog owner, this is where, again, I talk about even by way of very interesting in terms of moments of challenge where I haven't had these moments with Hildegard because of the issue about clarity. Okay, so again, when I'm interacting with dogs, the importance of clarity, especially when you hit the tipping point. This is where, again, on some prior videos, if you watch in terms of my Flipping the Script series, moments where you see dogs go into a moment of aggression and challenge where, say, the dog trainer is rubbing their hand on the dog. Okay, that's in terms of the association through emotion, empowerment, and it's like fire. It's like it's like gasoline and a spark that ignites a fire. By way, again, of relationship, by way of what that represents, especially when you're starting to take control, starting to interact in a way that represents control to the dog. And so here, in terms of, again, of my ability to be able to, okay, not generate those moments, it doesn't mean that in terms of the dog owner, those moments can happen because, in terms of it being a bigger deal, okay, based again on the relationship that the owner has with their dog, and things are changing. And the fact that the issue of clarity isn't going to be there initially because, again, this is developmental, okay? Clarity will come. But in the meantime, as the owner is starting to interact the right way, clarity is starting to happen more and more by way of, re-signing the contract, it's a great idea, okay? It's highly recommended to use a muzzle, okay, to avoid situations where someone gets bitten, okay, especially where a dog is trying to take control, moments of challenge. So here in this video, I want to show again, I want to work with Hildegard with, getting used to the muzzle for, again, interactions coming up where, again, definitely going to be pushing the envelope, okay, in terms of the board train process. So I already have dogs scheduled to show up here to continue to work on this issue of reactivity. And so therefore, I'm going to be using the muzzle here, starting to use the muzzle to keep things safe. And again, understand this is a temporary tool, okay? It will go away as, again, a dog becomes more agreeable to control by way of the muzzle, but also change itself, okay? As the relationship starts to change, then certain tools can go away, including the muzzle. The crate can start to go away at a certain level. And so here, this is a good tool to be using because, again, this is a reasonable demand, okay? So for Hildegard, this is great because, again, we want her to be accepting of certain devices that represent control. So I'm going to attach this to her, and I'll show you how to work with the dog with the muzzle. Again, So again, when you put a muzzle on the dog, again, you want to do it under leadership. You know, communicate again. Right here, I have a level of intentional control over her already through the leash to create that stability. And so when the dog is, say, attempting to get their, say, paw to rip the muzzle off, you want to nudge a little bit, okay, to change their focus the right way to get them to come into agreement with the muzzle. Okay, so here I'm going to put the muzzle on Hildegard. Again, she doesn't like it going on her a little bit. Not a big deal. We're going to attach it. I'm going to tighten up a little bit. And then right away, okay, it's on her. I'm going to bring the pressure collar, position the pressure collar so it's not interfering the muzzle. And right here, I'm going to tap a little bit. I'm going to put her into the sit position. And I'm going to hang out here for a few minutes, stationary, okay, with the muzzle on. Okay, this is where, again, keeping a level of intentional control, a baseline as I call it, okay, some authority, some influence coming through the leash, through the collar. And I'm going to hang out here for just a moment. And so here, this is where, again, when you're